Stoughton. I am on the Global Electronics Association booth at Productronica 2025, and I'm joined by Andrew Heath from Sourceability. Andrew.
Good afternoon, Phil.
Good to
be
see
here.
you, good to chat. I'm really interested in the development of the relationship between the component industry and the EMS industry, and actually the role of digital within that. I think there's a lot going on in terms of digital transformation. The supply chain, particularly at the front end, at the quoting end, but also when we get into procurement, is an area that a lot of intellect is being pushed into. How do you see that, and what's Sourceability's role?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I'll just talk a little bit of a step back about Sourceability as an organization and my role. My role really is to drive the global vision we have of empowering our partners and customers with digital information and data. And we're 10 years old this year. It's been an exciting couple of years for us in terms of developing digital data, primarily for customers, but bridging that gap between just providing dashboards, which traditionally has been a sort of a lever into EMS, and really being seen as a trusted partner where we provide that level of detail, granular level of detail, but also strategic vision and view of how the EMS organization can utilize data. And we're very embedded with EMS. I mean, we have over about 3,500 customers globally. And data integration has always been key for us as an organization. The challenge, I think, has been over the last couple of years is moving away, I think, from using data just as a dashboard, in particular with everything that's going on with AI. AI is moving now, I like to see digital transformation as moving from AI being an analyst to an operator. And to your point, being embedded deeply within an organization, supply chain dashboards used to sit really on the periphery of organizations, and particularly from a distribution perspective. They came with a number of offerings. Where we come from is really, again, I use the word empowerment. Empowering EMS to say, look, invest in these tools, invest in digital platforms, work with us. We can help maximize your ROI on profitability by helping you navigate all the complexities and the shocks that we've seen recently in the industry. Helping you minimize risk, look at areas maybe where you can improve in terms of ability and functionality. So it's a challenge for particularly for a lot of EMS organizations that are maybe a little bit standoff about how they use data and how they look at data. But again, that's something that we do very well. I think one of the things that I've seen recently over the last 12 months, particularly in my interaction with EMS at all levels, is the recognition, particularly with Sourceability, about the amount of data that we have. We've built this legacy on the back of our open market capabilities, where we have a lot of global information and data that we receive on a daily basis. And EMSs particularly now are realizing that, hey, we could utilize that data for benchmarking. That's one area where we can help them quickly understand, other prices that I'm seeing. Are we doing well against our competition? And we're coming at it from a fairly low cost adoption area. I think with Datalink particularly, it's a very affordable option for our customers at in tier 2 and tier 3. So for us this year and for next year, it's exciting for us. We're putting a lot of investment into some new features that we'll be launching next year that are going to help drive more of a strategic discussion within EMS.
I think that strategic partnership is something that we need to reinvigorate and talk about much more, the relationship between component distribution, the component supply chain, and the EMS, because you're such a valuable part of the supply chain, and if it's working well, it's exceptionally powerful. When it's working badly, it's exceptionally disruptive. And what the EMS industry is pretty conservative, and what it hates is surprises. So if we can have stuff that, we can drive demand signals to you, and you can drive signals back to us that say, hey, this is going to be short, this one is going to go into obsolescence, this is what's going on with these component manufacturers, then that's going to be a huge help to take that, de-risk the supply chain. And the supply chain is by its nature risky.
It is, and I think we enjoy those periods when it's nice and quiet, calm, but they're very far and few between nowadays.
They just get shorter though, don't they?
They do. There's a couple of things I've picked up on the show this week and at events that I've been at. And I think particularly in Germany as well, there is still a little bit of a resistance to take on board data. And I think that comes from a number of things. I think first of all, there is maybe not as much resource available in organizations to actually handle that data. Although, you're seeing data now becoming more and more centered within organizations, right? Yeah. So we have regular conversations now with supply chain officers at very high level, advising them on how to use that data. And that's really because we take a lot of our data and we work on predictability and behavioral trend information, which we feed into our output. I think the second thing that we've seen also is that there is a trend, which I've noticed with the talk of AI, is about digital provenance. That's really key. If EMS are obviously very selective, of course, of who they work with. Working with a trusted provider that's been doing this for a number of years, such as Sourceability, is important to at least start the dialogue. So that I think we've seen there's more of a willingness to work together as partnerships. And if I look at where we work also with our partners such as Luminova and CalcuQuote, who are obviously very embedded on a daily basis with those customers, Sourceability is front and center of their offering as well. So the message is getting out there that you need to invest in these tools. The challenge obviously is, and I think with AI for next year, is obviously what is the return on investment that these companies are going to have with that technology. And
I think that was the problem with Industry 4.0. Nobody felt they really got a dividend from it. I think what we did get is a huge amount of data bubbling up to the surface. We got great connectivity throughout our production processes, so we have access to that data. I think we're now moving into a chapter of how do we use that data. With AI, there's a realization that there is no one company that can do it. You can do some really neat AI inside what you do. You can do some really neat adjacent AI with the processes that your data impacts. But someone has got to look at that agentic, persona-based model that perhaps looks at all that AI. And the only way we're going to be able to work our way through that is to say, let's all step out of our little silos. Let's all work together. Let's all collaborate and think about how we can add value. And I think you mentioned Luminova as an example. They're a great example of bringing different parts of that ecosystem, particularly around quoting, together to provide something that does reduce the time to get a quote out, reduce the cost of getting a quote out, and does impact, hopefully, the top line of people's business.
And I think, again, talk about Luminova, we're at the event this week, and we had some discussions about how we work together as organizations. The key word I think came through was about strategic. And again, in my experience of working with SaaS platforms, they tend to be there to solve a particular issue and help companies turn around a problem very quickly. And I think, from an AI perspective, the companies that are going to succeed are the ones that are able to work very intelligently with that data and turn that data around very quickly and react to it. And we were talking about Luminova together, working on more strategic approaches of use of data. I think the conversation now with data is becoming more strategic.
And it should do, and it should not just end at the EMS. The EMS should be your gateway to their customer. And actually, a lot of the problems that the industry's had in terms of, particularly post-COVID, where we've had a fairly savage bullwhip effect, is because we've not managed demand signals well. We've not We don't understand the demand signals from the end user market very well. They don't get through the OEM to the EMS very well.
That's right.
The EMS isn't communicating to you very well. And then there's a whole chain that goes the other way, which is this part is becoming obsolete. These parts are going to be in shortage. There's been a natural disaster. What does that mean to the supply chain? Tell me quickly, because I need to respond. And how can I respond? If we can get that data flowing seamlessly along in both directions,
That's right.
it will have a huge impact, and that's all about collaboration.
It is, and you know, it's still a people business,
Yeah.
distribution, as you
Yeah.
know, and working with EMS, and you know, a lot of AI talks about the need to remove a person from a discussion.
Absolutely
And
not.
you know, I mentioned before about AI going from becoming sort of a tool for analyst or
Yeah, to an
analytical
operation.
to an operator. Now, will that operator be fully AI,
Yeah.
and you know, will there need to remove people? I don't think so.
There's a trust curve, isn't there,
Yeah.
that you have to
Now-
work their way up.
One of the things we do very well is we don't just throw data over a
Yeah.
fence. We educate our
Yeah.
partners and customers as to the best way
to
to
do with
utilize
that.
that data.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, then there's no point
And
just
the data
building
is
up data layers of data and data. But again, I think what we're doing as an organization is looking for those areas where, you know, we have this huge amount of information.
Yeah.
It's about how you translate it in a way that
Yeah.
really provides value,
Yeah.
long-term value. You think, I was talking at a recent IOM event, and this is more about obsolescence, but at the end of the day, these companies that we deal with, they're not here to solve obsolescence issues.
No.
They're not here to solve shortage issues. That's what we do.
That's your job, yeah.
And if we can help educate them and get them into a process
Yeah.
that they seamlessly, like you say, use that data
Yeah.
on a basis that makes informed decisions.
Yeah, it makes informed decisions as early as the design process as well.
You know, sourceability for us is, you know, we've historically been seen as a broker, and that,
Yeah.
you know, and we do that very well, and it's been part of our growth,
Yeah.
and will continue to be. And you know, we help customers.
And when you need a broker, you
and
need a broker.
and particularly with some of the things that have been happening with a certain Dutch company
Yeah.
over the last couple of months. But the data has fitted very well into that, and then
Yeah.
it's been helping customers find alternatives.
Yeah.
Being able to spin very quickly and
Yeah.
look for opportunities to, you know, minimize risk to profitability. But as an organization, what we're doing is we are really here to drive, if we look at our mission statement
Yeah.
for next year, we're here to drive data-driven solutions
Yeah.
across the whole ecosystem. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is right from inception
Yeah.
with customers, at the design level, all the way through to maintaining those longer term frame type agreements, and then looking into the future and saying, okay, what are the things that are going to impact me?
Yeah.
Technology changes,
Yeah.
changes in supply base, changes in number of vendors, and providing that
So we've
seamless
got that data
data
bank to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And I think that adds huge value. And when you add that value and you collaborate with everybody, and you tell that story, I think it makes perfect sense. So keep doing what you're doing.
We will.
Keep
We will.
telling everybody about it. And I think, you know, getting in front of the EMS industry and showing them where you really do add value is hugely important. So
Absolutely, we enjoy it. And
keep doing that.
And this event's great for that as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely. You see
It's only
people-
Wednesday, but it feels like a Friday
Oh,
already.
already does, absolutely. Lots of people.
But thank
Pleasure
you.
to chat to you.
Phil, pleasure.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Bye-bye.